If you're selling on Amazon in the year 2026, the question isn't can you make money? It's really what business model is best for you. And a lot of the business models that were available when I first got into this game in 2023 have really changed a lot. And if you're a new seller, you're probably looking for the right business model that works for your specific goals and needs. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 4 best business models in the year 2026 from solid to criminally underrated. And make sure you stick around to the last business model that I am recommending because I really do think it's the best opportunity in the year 2026. And just so you know, I've done a portion of all 4 of these models. So there's other models in this business that I have not personally partaken in, so I'm not going to shed light on those because I don't want to speak on things that I don't have experience with. But I have done these 4 business models, just so you know. All right, business model number 1 is going to be thrifting and cherry picking used books and media. So this is the business model that I started my Amazon journey with in the beginning of the year 2023. And the reason why I think scanning is still an incredible opportunity, especially if you're in areas where there's a lot of readers, particularly up in the Northeast, in the DMV or up in that area. It seems like that, at least from what I understand, there's a lot of readers and a lot of universities and stuff. But there could be areas all over the country, that are honey holes that I just don't personally know about. But the reason why books and media are so great is because it's the lowest cost to entry, lowest barrier to entry. Books and CDs usually cost $1, $2, $3, and you can flip them for 10, 20, 30, not 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 to $100. You can't really flip a book for $10 nowadays. You'll probably lose money. But it's pretty much immediate cash flow for, from turning $1 into $5 or $10. It's very low cost of goods. And generally, with used media and used books, you can get ungated pretty quickly. Now, it's changed a lot since I started. I was able to get ungated probably a little bit quicker than you can now if you were to start an account today. But with a lot of volume, sending stuff into Amazon FBA, it's still a really good opportunity to start your Amazon journey. And it's really the education phase as well. You're not really risking a whole lot with such low cost of goods. You can really learn the ins and outs of Amazon and what it means to sell on Amazon, while you could potentially simultaneously learn another business model, which I'll get into here shortly. So the cons of this model would be the time for money trap, which would be, you really have to take time out of your day. So if you're working a 9 to 5 to actually go out and drive to thrift stores, library sales, pawn shops, it does take time to do it. And the inventory might not always be there. Like you could show up to a thrift store, you might not come away with a whole lot, but then there's days where you show up to a library sale and you're leaving with 100 items. It's really kind of hit or miss as far as like the supply and inventory in your area. And it's really hard to like grow past a certain point, in my personal opinion, unless you have really like a really good system down and you're really spreading out your radius outside of like, the 5 or 6 thrift stores that you're normally going to. Like, shout out to Mike, the used book guy. He preaches that you need to be able to drive 1-2 hours at least to thrift stores, library sales, pawn shops. You need to have like 100 sources in your area that you're hitting every month, if not every other month, and kind of like cycling through these regions in your area to make the cherry picking model really work. So that is my number 1 suggestion for the best business model to jump into in the year 2026. All right, business model number 2 that I think is a great business model in the year 2026, which has been my main business model over the last 2.5 years, I would say, and that is online arbitrage, but mainly doing used books and used media. So this is Amazon to Amazon flips mainly, but also eBay to Amazon flips with books and used media. So this would be sourcing from bulk booksellers from Amazon and eBay and flipping them back onto Amazon for a profit. The pros of this model is sort of endless in a lot of ways. I mean, it's way more scalable than thrifting, so you can hire a team, you can have VAs, source for you and run your business for you essentially. There's a lot of opportunity in seasonal arbitrage with textbooks, high school and college textbooks. Christmas books are amazing. I've been preaching Christmas books and media for the last 3 years. You're not driving to thrift stores or library sales anymore, so you can spend less time buying instead of driving. And it's the perfect bridge model from the thrifting and cherry picking into a more online based, work from home type of business model. You can have your laptop in, on vacation and be working on your business for something like this, which you really wouldn't be able to do that in a thrifting or cherry picking model. So I think the cons of the used book game is it's very inventory heavy. So you will have to source a ton of books to make books really worth it, because the sell through is just not there compared to other products, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just your cost of goods will be tied up a little bit longer than I think other products, and it does cost much more than it would be for cherry picking. So, instead of buying books and DVDs and CDs for $1, $2, $3, cherry picking and thrifting, it will be more so 10, 20, 30, 40. I mean, I'm buying books for 50 to 100, if not more sometimes, if the opportunity presents itself to where I can sell it for $200, $300. It's much more, your cost of goods is much higher. So there's less margin for error, essentially. So you really have to be sharp. You really have to understand keyword charts and building certain systems for you to be successful. Also, you can outsource this to a prep center to where you don't have to touch books anymore. So there's a lot of benefits of the online arbitrage model. But I just think, that would be my number 2 business model for number 2 recommendation in my top 4 business models. All right, business model number 3 that you can do in the year 2026 that really works is eBay to Amazon. So this is online arbitrage. You're buying new products, not books and CDs, more so toys, video games, electronics, board games, office supplies, business and industrial, pretty much any other category besides books and media, and you're buying them new on eBay to flip onto Amazon. So why this works is that eBay has a massive catalog. There's millions of listings being uploaded every day, and there is 1,000% an arbitrage play at stake here for, eBay to Amazon. It just feels like the inventory is it can be replenished not at all times, but like there's always new listings coming up, and there's always a play there to be made. And it's this is another system that's very scalable with VAs and systems. So you can hire a whole team of VAs. I know several sellers like Steve Rakin and a couple other people that I know that have hired whole teams of VAs that are running their business for them. And they only work like 1 to 5 hours a week on their business instead of, being in the weeds, sourcing, fixing high pricing errors, doing all sorts of admin work. So this stuff can be scaled and sourced out. But this model, actually, before I get into the cons, the biggest pro I think of eBay to Amazon is the sell-through rate. And the competition is much lower than books. So I think that the sell-through rate, if you're really good at eBay to Amazon, can be like 50, 60 percent, like selling through all of your like 50 to 60% of your inventory in a month. With books, the best booksellers are doing and books and media are doing like 20%. That skews a little differently with seasonal arbitrage. When you're flipping like high school books or college books, there's people that are selling through 90%, if not more, of their seasonal books. But, the season only happens, once or twice a year. With eBay to Amazon, it's every single month you can be selling 50, 60, sometimes 70%, depending on what month it is, and potentially in Q4. So it's a much more consistent cash flow model than books and online arbitrage books, in my personal opinion. But it definitely comes with some risks with eBay to Amazon. So I do think it is a higher suspension risk, simply because you don't have legitimate invoices in Amazon's mind. But there are ways to curb your risk with understanding what brands are safe to sell, understanding keeper charts, and really looking for the tall tail. Is that the word, tall tail? Telltale? I don't know. I don't have a great vocabulary. It really just there's ways to look for the signs to where and understand that brands are safe. And also, in my mind, eBay to Amazon is no different than thrifting and cherry picking. Like, no one that's thrifting and cherry picking has invoices to show Amazon if they were to get Section 3'd or audited. And that's coming from someone that did get Section 3'd and successfully passed with 60% eBay receipts. So I'm not going to go into my Section 3 part, but this is all to say that eBay to Amazon is a little bit riskier. You can get brand complaints and IV complaints, so you really have to be on your P's and Q's. You gotta be on your toes and really building like systems to where you're scaling and buying safely and hopping on listings that are safe. And once you find those listings and those brands and those ASINs that are safe and you can replenish them over and over and over and over. And you can hire a team to replenish these over and over and over. You can get to a point where you're only buying your replens and you're not adding on new brands. You can just get to a certain level where it's like, okay, I want to make 100K profit and that's my goal. And, I don't need much else. And you can absolutely do that. But, in order to scale, you do have to add in more brands and more agents, obviously. But it all comes with, with risks. And it is one that I'm personally willing to take at this point. So this is the model that I am currently doing. Like I said, this can be insanely profitable. You just need systems for and discipline, but this is definitely not beginner friendly. It's going to take a lot more money and capital, even more than books, online arbitrage books. I'm spending a good amount of money, like more than I ever have with eBay to Amazon, but I have more money coming back in from my cash flow as well. So I'm sort of building and building month over month. But yeah, eBay to Amazon is a great business model. Now let's get into the number one business model that I think is the best opportunity in 2026. All right, if you're running any three of those first 3 miles I discussed, you definitely need the right tools that actually talk to each other. And that's why this video is sponsored by Seller 365 and 3Colts. So this is a software that has combined 9 or 10 different softwares that I currently use. I'm not going to promote something that I don't currently use, guys. So I actually use this bundle in software. So I use Inventory Lab, I use Smart Repricer, I use Scout IQ. I have used Scout X, which is something like a seller amp. And I have started to use Tactical Arbitrage. So those are the main ones that I have been using. There's other softwares that are included in this bundle as well, but it's really just a one-stop shop for everything that you need as an Amazon seller for only $69 a month. Shout out to 3Colts and Seller 365. The number one business model that I think is the best opportunity right now in 2026. And this is coming from experience. And this is the Amazon Influencer Program. So the Amazon Influencer Program, I believe, is the best opportunity right now in 2026. And this is why. So my fiance does the Amazon Influencer Program and I help her out with it. So there's a few softwares that I use. Shout out to ViralView. I use ViralView to help get a bunch of products. So essentially, before I jump into that part, essentially the Amazon Influencer Program, all you're doing is creating videos of products around your house, or if you're getting a sample from a brand and you're creating a quick 15, 30 second, a minute video going over what the product is like and how you use it and just making a review video essentially. And it goes up on the actual listing on Amazon. And if a consumer goes to the listing on Amazon, they watch your video and they make a purchase, you get a commission for the video. So the reasons why I think that this opportunity is so great is because, one, you don't have to buy any inventory. So there's no inventory sitting at FBA or sitting at your house that you have to ship. You're not really dealing with customers at all. You're not shipping. There is a little bit of account health stress, not as much as account like your Amazon Seller Central account. There's still guidelines that you have to live inside of Amazon Sandbox. There's softwares that are built like ViralView to help you optimize this thing to where you can send out mass messages to brands to send you products to review, and then once you review them, you can flip them on Facebook Marketplace. So you're essentially getting product for free. And in a lot of ways, it's helped me and my fiance out because we have a wedding coming up and we're getting a bunch of products for free that we would have bought otherwise. So my fiance has done around like $4,000 to $5,000 in the last 3 months. She started in September, and we're only growing as well. So I've seen many success stories of people doing $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, even like $10,000 plus dollars. And also, you can build this business outside of Amazon. So there's people that are building YouTube channels for this, TikTok shop. There's so many opportunities within the Amazon Influencer Program right now. People will say that's getting a little bit oversaturated, which I do agree to an extent, but there's a lot of new opportunities now, like Creator Connections, to where you're getting commissions upwards of 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, sometimes 50% commissions on your video. All of that is to say that the Amazon Influencer Program, I think, is the best opportunity for new sellers. Not like, it could be for sellers that are currently still selling on Amazon, but for people that want to start making money online, it's the best opportunity because there's no upfront cost of anything. Like, you can pay for a software, obviously, that could cost you $20, $50 a month or whatever, but you're not paying for inventory like I am. Like, I'm spending 5 figures a month on inventory hopefully sell back onto Amazon. With this business model, you're just reviewing whatever around your house, at your parents' house, at your friend's house. You can get free samples and flip those free samples on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. I just think that it's the easiest because it requires the least amount of investment, if any investment at all. So those are my 4 top business models for the year 2026. Let me know which one's your favorite, which one you're vibing with the most. What do you think is the best opportunity in 2026? I didn't mention wholesale. I didn't mention private label. I didn't mention traditional online arbitrage. I didn't really go down the TikTok shop route because I don't really know a whole lot about TikTok shop, but I know it's similar to the Amazon influencer program. I didn't mention Walmart. I know people are crushing it on selling on Walmart. What do you guys think is the best opportunity on Amazon? I can only speak on my personal experience, so I would love to hear if anybody else has any other business models that's maybe not even be Amazon, Walmart, eBay, or related. It could be like Etsy or Shopify or some other e-commerce model that's not even on my radar. So let me know what you guys think of these 4 business models and what's your favorite in the comments. And I really hope you guys are having a great 2026, and I hope you guys crush it this year. I hope this has helped anybody that is potentially thinking about selling on Amazon. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If not, I'll catch you guys on the next video. See you.